Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Star Trek Discovery and how they let their characters down. It's been no surprise if anybody's ever watched my channel. I'm talking about Star Trek that I am not a fan of New Trek. I do not like Star Trek Discovery. However, season 4 is for the most part pretty okay and everything. Starting to slowly like it, but even though I'm starting to like some of these episodes, there's still some things in there that I still just don't like. One of the major problems on why I can't get into Star Trek Discovery is its characters, if you can even call them that, because it's almost like the writers don't care about all these characters they created because we still don't know much of nothing about these people. Most people don't even know their names. We didn't know their ranks until really until this season when we found out they all got promotions and now they're all commanders. Except for Tilly. I'll get to Tilly later because she's gone. And so this show only focuses on a certain amount of people on this show, mainly Burnham, Saroo, a little bit of Stamets, and who's ever the major villain of this season is. But then it has all these other characters that fill out the ship, and we don't know nothing about them. They never really get nothing to do. They never really say anything on the show. And if it is, it's like the dumbest mundane thing ever. Like in season 3, when Tilly got promoted, they're all like, say yes. Every single last one of them say yes to the promotion. I'm just like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Now you give them something to say, and then when you do find something interesting about them, it doesn't go nowhere after that. It's just like a throwaway line and boom. And I'm just thinking to myself, how is it that a show that has all of these characters, but yet they do nothing? Now they are getting slightly a little bit more to do this season, but not much. And it's just kind of that's the thing about Star Trek. It's not one person who leads the show, it's the entire bridge crew. And in this show, it's not like that. Now, granted, in TOS, it was mostly just Spock, McCoy, and Kirk. That's because back in those days, you had the hero and you had the sidekicks. And so that's how TV was back then. But it's not how TV is now. Now, granted, once again, Discovery was set before TOS. But why would every starship be exactly like them? That's the problem Enterprise ran into. Enterprise tried to formulate that TOS formula of having the captain do everything, and then the one Vulcan do everything, and his other sidekick partner, his country sidekick partner. And it's just why would every single starship do that in that time era? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what this video is mainly just going to be about. I'm just going to be talking about the characters and what little I know about them and how the writers have failed them, because the writers have failed every single last one of them, even the main ones and stuff. It's almost like the writers don't care, because they don't care. The only thing they care about is whatever that season big storylines about, what's going to destroy the universe, and how Michael Burnham has to save it, because she saves everything. And so there's so much wasted potential in this show, and things we start to learn about people, and it just gets squashed. And it's not fair. It's not fair for the actors. It's not fair for the fans. And I just don't know why they do that, because it's weird. These CBS Trek shows time length is longer than any of the older Star Trek shows, but the older Star Trek shows have more episodes and stuff. And even when minor characters such as Lita from DS9 or Keiko from Next Gen or DS9, Rom from DS9, Naomi Wildman from Voyager, even though they were never main cast members, they're mostly just recurring and guest starring and stuff like that, you still knew more about them and you still cared about them. You can't say the same thing about Discovery. Honestly, I don't care if you are a die-hard Discovery fan. I don't care if you're the anti fandom menace. You cannot honestly say with a conscience that you care about the bridge crew of Discovery and that you know so much about them, because you don't. I'm letting you know that right here, right now. And because, nobody knows anything about them. The own actors and actresses don't know nothing about them. Like, seriously. The communication officer, Bryce, what do you know about him? That's right. You don't. So let's get to this and everything. Let's see who I'm going to start off with first. Well, since I said Bryce, I might as well start with Bryce. Okay, so I never knew this dude's rank from season 1 to 3, but now I know it going into season 4 because everybody got promoted, and he is now a commander in season 1. Season 1 through 3, he was a lieutenant. So I'm gonna assume that he is a lieutenant commander in season 4, because why the world would they make him a commander and he's not on a space station or not the number one of like a starship? So what do we know about him? The writers obviously don't care about this dude because they give him nothing to say, they give him nothing to do. We don't know where he's from, we don't know where he's born, we don't know nothing about if he has a religion or not. We don't know if he has family or kids or nothing like that. We don't know his hobbies. We don't know what he likes to, kind of music he likes to listen to. We don't know what kind of foods he likes to eat. I know what you're saying. Why is that all important? Well, in other Star Trek shows, we knew stuff like that. We knew Commander Riker liked jazz music. We knew that Counselor Troy loved chocolate. We knew Data loves to like paint and try to be human and stuff. And so, like, what is it that we know about him? Other than him being a communications officer, that's it. That's really just it. And so, like, in season 3, it was revealed that him and Reese actually hangs out because, they're the two males of, like, the bridge. So, of course, they have to hang out. And they hang out, and apparently I think they play like certain games together. That's it. And so this season he finally got to say something. First, in the first episode, he was transferred someplace else. I forget where he was transferred, but he came right back in the second episode. Then, even though he's a communications officer, he's the one who figured out this big thing that has to do with the anomaly. And I'm just thinking to myself, he is not no science major. Not major, but science officer. How in the world did he figure that out? He's just a communications officer. And we don't even see him communicate with nobody. We never see no device in his ear, because this is supposed to be back in that time. We never see him contact anyone because they do the holographic crap. And so it's like he does absolutely nothing. And then when he made that big revelation about the anomaly, everybody just clapped and cheered, like he just did like a hand, how was that thing called? Like a backflip. I just call it that. I'm about to say a handspring. And it's like, why were they cheering him? Just because he finally got something to say? Like, why have this character on the ship, on the show, if like you're not gonna take the time and effort to get to know this dude? And it's just like, gee, I forgot what I was gonna say. That's just how boring the character is, because I don't know nothing about the dude. Like, why have him on the show? Why? And now, now I remember. Why is he still a communications officer in the 32nd century? Communication stations have been wiped from the bridges of starships since like Next Generation. So he should do something else, but they can't find nothing for him to do. Now let's get to his so-called friend, Reese. He is once again a commander in season 4, so I'm gonna assume he's a lieutenant commander. I never even knew he was a lieutenant back in the day. I think, now hear me out. Now I think he's a security officer, if I'm not mistaken. Or he no, I think he might be tactical. I think they decided to split that up, security and tactical, because I'll get to that a little bit later. So I'm pretty sure he's a tactical officer. Um, Once again, we know nothing about his background. Once again, we never see him like firing on like ships and this and that. We never hear him say, "Oh, shields are down." Oh, we never hear him say like, "This other ship took damage." Um, like in season 4, it was he decided that, okay, when Burnham and Saroo and all the commanding people are gone, they had him in the big chair, and it's like, oh, he has bridge like experience, like that kind of experience. He has command experience. I didn't know that. Why didn't he ever take control of the bridge like before? And if he has bridge like commanding experience, why wasn't he Saroo's #1 officer instead of Tilly and stuff? And not only that, but like, I'm pretty sure the blonde-headed lady, I'm pretty sure, I think her name is Neeson or something like that. I'm pretty sure she has more superiority, like, on command training than he does and stuff. And so, like, why was he in the big chair? He has his moments to finally talk when he's in the big chair, but then other than that, that is it. You know what I'm saying? Like, once again, we know absolutely nothing about this character. So it's kind of like if he was to get injured or something like that, why would I care? Also, if he's tactical or security or whatever, why doesn't he go on any away missions? Why does she send Tilly on away missions when Tilly can't fight? I don't understand that. Like, what is the purpose? Like, whenever the ship is being taken over, he's never doing nothing and stuff. And it's kind of like, what kind of tactical security officer is this dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. Now let's get into Non. I don't even know her rank. I'm pretty sure she's just a lieutenant. She was in the 2nd season of Discovery. She came aboard from the Enterprise. She's the security officer. I'm assuming she's security officer on like the Discovery as well. What does she do in the 2nd season? Nothing. As soon as she appears, she disappears right after that. I didn't even really know she was on the ship until they got into the 32nd century. And then when they crash landed on in the 32nd century and they started surveying the planet they was on, she didn't go with the security team. So why was she even there? Then she finally gets to do something. Kinda. She goes on an away mission with Burnham and the Doctor. It's on the ship that they're on. It's one of her home planet ships. She's a I forgot what she is. She's a something, Bozine or something like that. I can't remember. And so like the ship is like messed up. The one living person on that ship is screwed up in the head. So you assume that since that's her people, she'll be able to calm him down and talk to him and make him do the right thing. Nope. Michael Burnham does that. She can't even talk to her own people. But then, being on that ship, she realizes something. She is homesick. And so what does she decide she's gonna do? She leaves Discovery. I think she also leaves Starfleet. I'm not really sure. And she goes to live with her people. Now, one, they gave her big moment, kinda, and then they took it all away just to like write her off the ship. Write her off the show. Not only that, but she's in the 32nd century. 900 years has passed since you've been around your people. Everything has changed. All your people dead. When I mean people, I mean her family and friends. Clothing change, music change, entertainment change, cultural this is and that change, politics change. Everything has changed. How is she gonna like integrate into this new society when she's so new to the 32nd century? How is she gonna navigate? We don't know because the writers don't care to let us know. Moving on. Now we get to the operations officer. I cannot pronounce her last name, so I'm just gonna call about her first name, Joanne. Didn't even know her first name was Joanne. I still can't pronounce her last name because they barely say it on the show. So she has been the operations officer since season 1. She is also a commander. I'm gonna assume lieutenant commander. Um, what do we know about her in the first season? Absolutely nothing. We know nothing about her in the first season. I'm not joking. And she barely says anything. She just constantly looks around and she's always staring at Detmer next to her. I can't say that for some reason. Detmer. the con officer. She just keeps looking at her for some reason. Then in season 2, things get a bit more interesting. We start to actually get to know her. She goes on an away mission with Pike and Burnham. And we find out she has no religion whatsoever. She's not a religious person. Now, what's interesting about that is that that's not a big deal in Star Trek, because in Star Trek, you don't know nobody's religion. Because for the most part, Gene Roddenberry had it to where people of Earth don't believe in religion. You in DS9, that's when they started bringing in like religions and stuff like that. But they started bringing in with the alien species, not so much the people of Earth. So for her to say, she's not religious, big whoop, because no, it's not the thing on Earth no more. And because that's what Gene Roddenberry intended when he created Star Trek. Also, I think, and don't quote me on this part, this is the part I'm not really 100% sure about. I think she was not born of Earth. I think she was born on another planet or the moon. I don't know which one. So that's kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of like interesting. She wasn't born of Earth, but yet she's human. So what was it like her growing up on the other planet? Don't know. What are her hobbies? Don't know that either. Why did she join Starfleet? Don't know that either. Who's she dating? Don't know that either. And so other than that, we later find out that she's actually best friends with Detmar. How can I say her name? Detmer and the android robot looking woman. The cyborg lady, that's what she is, a cyborg. And I think her name is Airman or something like that. Armin or something like that. I have to look it back. I think it's Armin. That's what it is. The cyborg lady. We find out she's close friends with them because, of course, they're the only females of the show that don't do nothing. So they just pair those together. Didn't even know that her best friend is Detmer and stuff and that. And not only that, but then in season 3, something weird starts to happen. Remember how I said she's always looking at her? Well, from season 3 and season 4, she stepped up her looking and she looks. I'm just like, is she romantically interested in Detmer? Don't know, because the show won't let us know. But she keeps staring at her and gazing at her like she's in love and everything. Like she has the puppy dog eyes just when she looks at her. And so, like, one time, Detmer got into an argument with Stamets, which is very rare because she don't say nothing either. And she totally stood up for her and talking about how she's like, oh, you're such a great officer and stuff like that. I'm just like, do you secretly like her and stuff? Don't know. The writers won't let us know because the writers don't care to let us know, because she is not Saroo, she is not Burnham, and she is not Tilly. So therefore, the show does not care. Now let's get into her friend Detmer. She has a little bit more interesting of a background, but you get to know her visually and not actually, having her tell us stuff. So, in the first season of Discovery, the very first episode, she used to work with Saroo, Burnham, and Georgiou on the what was that ship called? I don't even remember. And so, yeah, so in the first episode, before Burnham committed mutiny, her face was totally okay, like totally normal. Then the whole battle broke out, and then she got badly scarred. the left side of her face is something happened to it. So they shaved the left side of her head off. The rest of her hair is there, and they put this huge implant thing stapled to her head. Also, her eye is messed up now. It's a different color than her other eye. What exactly happened to her? Um, I don't know. Because the show doesn't let us know what's wrong with her. Don't even know if it's her eye. Don't know if it's her brain. Don't know if it's her skull. Don't know if it's anything. Something's wrong with the left side of her face. And we don't know because the show does not let us know. And once again, she's now a commander in the fourth season. I'm assuming lieutenant commander. Now, things get slightly, and then so when she is shown again on Discovery, like I said before, we don't know what the world's going on with her face. Now let's get into the second season when Cyborg Woman, when Cyborg Woman dies and everything, she's all like, she was such a close friend of mine. She helped me with my facial deformity and everything like that. Really? Because throughout the entire first and second season, we never saw you complain about that. That was a missed opportunity. We could have seen just how that affects her and everything. I mean, the side of her face is jacked up. Well, not really jacked up because she's still a beautiful woman. It's just that big old implant that's on the side of her head and everything. And it's kind of like that could have been some juicy material to work off on. Like, why don't we get to see how that affects her? We see how like the doctor wanted to be treated like a human and how that affected him. We saw how Data wanted to be human and how that affected him. So why can't we see how that affects her? And then something interesting happens in the third season. In the third season, they jump all the way into like the 32nd century, right? And so like when they get there, all of a sudden, see, they had to escape the control thing, which they got rid of that. And then they had to do something else to save Michael in the future or some crap like that. I don't know. Season 2 was weird. So when they get to the 32nd century, the first thing she does, for some bizarre reason, is get into an argument with Stannis. She's pissed that people's always giving him praise for the whole spore jumping thing and jumping around like the whole galaxy. And so like she's all like, who flies the ship? Who flew it through like a time vortex thingy? And it was really hard. She's like, I did. I don't ever get no praise. Blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, this is an interesting argument. Like, where did this come from? And I'm just like, where is this gonna go? And I'm all like, wait, hold up. Did Control secretly take control of her brain through her implant, just like it did that one dude from Section 31? Nope. She just had a hissy fit. After that hissy fit was over, she did nothing for the rest of that season, but just say yes and everything. And so then in that season, she's with Book. And so she's flying his shuttle because something happened and they had to fly his shuttle. Now, she only knows how to fly ships from the 32nd century. She is now in the 32nd century. She has no idea what she's doing. She has no idea how to use the controls. She is flying like an ace, flying his shuttle. And he's all like, and he literally tells her, you know what you're doing and stuff. She's all like, basically she's flying blind. And that's how she learned how to fly. And they gave her her moment, but that wasn't really nothing. Like, how did you know how to do that crap? So now in the fourth season, she says a little bit more, but not much of anything. Now let's move on to, might as well go to the Android Lady. Android Lady, not Android, Cyborg. Cyborg Lady. Airman. I'm gonna say Airman Armand. I'm gonna say Cyborg Lady. It's air something, but I don't know. In the first season, we don't know anything about her. We don't even know if she's human. We assume she's just a robot or an android. But then we've learned that she actually takes command of the ship when the higher ranking officers aren't there. I'm assuming she had the rank of lieutenant commander. And so after that, we don't know nothing about her. In season 2, once again, throughout the entire season, we know nothing about her towards the end of her death. That's when we finally get to know her. Turns out she was human. She had a husband. I think she might even had a kid. I'm not really sure. I think they died. Something happened to her where she was in like an accident. And they had to graft all this cybernetic stuff to her. Turns out she hung out all the time with Detmer and Joanne and stuff. Didn't know that. And then, next thing you know, control takes over her. Now, this is what's interesting. In the first season, she was played by this one actress. Then in the second season, that one actress got replaced, and then they gave her another one. Because the first actress decided to play a different character where you can actually see her face. And so, like, then, you know, she gets taken over by control, and then she dies. That's it. That's all we know about her. A wasted opportunity. She could have did so much cool cybernetic stuff, like Data and 7 and 9, but no, they squashed that. They don't care to let us know that, because she is not Michael Burnham. She is not there to save the day. There's so many endless possibilities they could have done with her. They literally could have just done anything with her. They even could have just said, you know what, screw it. We're going to give the Borg existence an origin. Oh, she's the first Borg. They don't even do that. She's basically a Borg, and like, they don't go into that and stuff. It's such wasted material. And because this show doesn't care. But yet this show is outliving the Orville. I don't understand how. Now let's get into Neeson. She was the first actress to play the Cyborg Lady. What do we know about her? Nothing. She's a commander. I'm assuming a lieutenant commander. She took over the station that the Cyborg Lady was at. Does she ever get to say anything? Nope. She came in season 2. Is she married? Don't know. About season 3. Anything interesting about her? Nope. She gets to say 1 or 2 little lines in season 4, but that's it. Why is she on the show? She better be getting paid some good money to do absolutely nothing. Jet Reno. She's barely on the show. Now, we do actually know some things about her. We knew she was on another ship in season 2. Her entire crew died. She is an engineer. Somehow, she thinks medical and engineering is the same thing, but it is not. And she's able to keep her people alive in these weird sci-fi, in a like jar full of water kind of way. So they decide, okay, well, so we're going to put you on Discovery now. What is she doing with Discovery? Nothing. We never see her in engineering because we've never seen engineering in Discovery. You think you've seen engineering, but you have not. All you see is Stamets' lab. That is all you see. So what do we know about her? Well, we know she's sassy and we know she's sarcastic. Basically, she sasses every man she sees. She doesn't sass the women, she only sasses the men. And so she's very sarcastic to the men in a very rude and very blunt way. We also know she likes to snack and eat. We also know she is comedic. Why? Because the actress is a comedian and everything. So they made her comedic with dry wit humor and stuff and sarcasm. People have assumed she's a lesbian only because the actress is a lesbian and because she always hangs out with the LGBT people of the show. No joke, she don't hang out with none of the straight people on the show. They don't write her to hang out with the straight people on the show. She only hangs out with the LGBT characters or actors or actresses. All she hangs out with is Stamets, Hugh. Why name him Hugh? Because that's just so similar to the Borg dude. Coburn, I'll just call him that. Adira Gray. Tilly. Why? Because the actress is actually LGBT. Many people don't know that because she's married to a man, but she had women experiences before him, she said. So this character is like blank. We don't know nothing about her other than she snaps, she's sarcastic, and she sasses men. That is all we know. We never even see her engineer. She's only probably been in this show a total of 4 times. I kid you not. Now let's get to Adira. Ensign Adira. Now she's an ensign. She wasn't that before. So they found her in the 3rd season, the 32nd century. She was part of that like Earth Defense Force thing, which they never really elaborated on. And it would be nice for them to go back to Earth in season 4. And are they even still part of the Federation, or the Federation just a part of itself? So that would be kind of interesting. So anyway, she sneaks on board. She's like sassing Stamets and everything. Turns out she's a very interesting character. She is a human who had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend was Trill. That's not his name. He is a Trill. Her boyfriend is Gray. Gray died. They had to put the symbiote in somebody, and they didn't have another Trill to do it. So they put it in her, a human. That right there is interesting, like I don't know what, because that's only been done once in TNG when they was doing the symbiote Trill prototypes for the show. So then in like that season, the 3rd season, we see, I think she was having like I don't think she was having complications. So that was a missed opportunity right there, because humans are not compatible with Trills, and the symbiote is supposed to screw her up inside and stuff. Just like it screwed Riker up to the point where they were like dying and stuff, and they had to take the symbiote out. So why wasn't that like shown here? And so then her and Michael Burnham, when they go down to the Trill planet, they berate her because they don't like the idea of a Trill inside a human. But then she needs to understand something that's going on, because I think something is going on in her head. And so she goes into like that Trill water, and it's a really cool scene. But of course, Michael had to help her because of course Michael has to save the day. So she's there, and she gets to see all the past hosts, all the past Trill hosts. A lot of them are in Starfleet. Some are commanders, some are admirals, some are captains. And she gets to see Gray. And, you know, she finally gets to say like her goodbyes and like that, this and that. Then something interesting happened. All of a sudden, she can see Gray. Nobody else can see him. Now, Gray is just kind of like, he's not so much a ghost, but he's more like a memory that is inside the symbiote. All their past experiences from past hosts are in the symbiote now. What this symbiote's last name? I don't even know. Well, actually, the name of the symbiote, I don't know. Like, pretty much the host takes over the last name of the symbiote. And so, don't know this one, because the most famous one of all is Dax from DS9, and there was 2 different hosts. So the big question is, how is she able to see him without doing that ritual? Because this is the thing, in DS9, you can see your past host, you can interact with your past host, but you have to do this ritual. She didn't do that. So how is she able to see Gray? Like, I don't know. Because the show doesn't want you to know. The show doesn't care to want you to know. And so it's like, that should have been, and she lets people know on the ship that, hey, she's not crazy, and this is why she's like talking to herself, because she's actually talking to somebody else. Do you think they spend time trying to figure that out? Nope. Do you think they go to Trill to help her figure that out? Nope. And so, like, all of a sudden, also with Adira, she is a child prodigy. She is very smart because of all the symbiote hosts. And also, she was shy, but she wasn't jittery or like nervous and stuff. So then when she is on an away mission on this asteroid ship thingy, the holographic system is very advanced on that from Saroo's people. And so all of a sudden, Gray gets materialized in the holodeck. And not only does he get materialized, everybody turns into a different alien species when they're on that holodeck. And for some bizarre reason, Gray turned into a different species. I think he turned to Vulcan. Why? Don't know. How was he able to materialize? Don't know. How was the computer holodeck thing able to like read her thoughts and find the host memories of the symbiote and rematerial? And why it only rematerialized him and nobody else? Don't know. So now we get into season 4. All of a sudden, in season 4, Adira has now been made into an ensign. She never went to Starfleet training because Starfleet Academy had just been reopened in the first episode of season 4. So Adira is now an ensign. She goes on like an away mission. Some reason Adira has changed. Adira is now jittery. Adira is now nervous. Adira is now frantic. What happened to this person? This person didn't used to be this way. And then so every episode after that, Adira has been acting jittery, has been acting like Barkley from TNG. And it's just like, what is the deal? Like, this character was never like that. Apparently, this character is not ready to be on a starship, being in Starfleet. And this person, and the writers have let us know that Adira just isn't ready. But they're gonna take her rank and position away? Nope. And they're gonna make her go to Starfleet training? Nope. And so, like, she's just there. And it's just like, they had so many, they had a lot of juicy material to work with this character, and they squashed it because they just don't care. Now let's get into Adira's ghostly lover, Gray. I pretty much explained things about Gray. I forgot what Gray was doing on the ship, but Gray's just Gray. And so, like, once again, we don't know nothing about this person's personality other than he dated Adira and he was in love with her and stuff. That's all we know. And so in the 4th season, they decided they're going to give Gray embodied. They don't explore how Gray is still stuck in Adira's head and able to materialize and stuff like that, because they don't care to let us know. But they give Gray a android Sith body, the same one that was used in Star Trek Picard. So they say that this technique is rare because, like, there wasn't a great success rate. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you're using 800-year-old tech. You don't know if this person's going to survive. Also, why hasn't Starfleet or anyone, like, did anything to improve the android stuff? What was the whole point of all that in Star Trek Picard if he wasn't going to go nowhere with it? But I digress. So anyway, Gray is now, before Gray gets in the body, he's all like, maybe I can be a host again. I'm thinking to myself, how? You're not real. That's not a real organic body. It's just an android, goopy, like, organic body and stuff. So it's not the same thing. It's like a real humanoid body and stuff. So then Gray's in there and he's happy. And then in the next episode, nothing. He just waits in Adira's room, waiting for her to get off work and stuff like that. Now, one other YouTuber went as far as to call Gray Adira's puppy, who just waits for her in the room. Oh, that's a little harsh, but I can see where that person is going. Because sometimes I think Book is like Burnham's puppy and stuff like that. And so it's like, that's literally all Gray did, was just wait in the room and just wait for Adira to come back. He doesn't explore the ship. He doesn't, like, explore space. Doesn't do nothing. He doesn't try to have his old life back. He just waits for Adira. Now, Gray is kind of like the Keiko of the show. But Keiko, we actually knew stuff about. We actually liked her. She had an actual personality. And then she took on a role on the ship, even though it was minor. And they don't do nothing with Gray. And it's just like, why have the writers let Gray down? Gray could have been one of the most Star Trek-ish type characters ever. But, and with so many plot lines with the whole Trill thing from DS9, but they squashed every single last bit of that. And so, like, not to mention, Gray's memories can't be all intact. because, the Trill doesn't keep every single last memory of a person. So this could have been some great drama. Gray could have got so pissed, like, why don't I remember this? Or how come I'm doing this differently? And why all of a sudden my hair grew out and I have fingernail polish on me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Which is kind of ironic because Gray's appearance has changed dramatically to where he grew his hair out and he has fingernail polish. I'm pretty sure he's the first person in Star Trek, human, or not human, to have like fingernail polish. And so that's kind of weird because I've never seen fingernail polish on nobody in Star Trek before. And so this has to do, of course, with the Ian, the person who plays Gray. I think what I read on Wikipedia that Ian is now transgender. So I guess he's transitioning to be like a female. So at some point we're gonna have to start calling her. But it's kind of like that was like a huge shift in like the character personality. Has the character ever wanted to be female? Don't know. They don't tell us nothing. Gray is like a blank canvas. Like you see Gray, but we don't know Gray. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what we're looking at. We don't know who this person is. We don't know nothing. This could have been the most interesting. I've said this before. I just literally said this like a minute ago. This could have been the most interesting Star Trek-ish character on the show with endless possibilities and endless storylines. Gray has lived in the 32nd century. Gray knows where stuff is at. Gray can take them places. They don't do none of that stuff because Gray is not Michael Burnham. Now we're moving up to people who get a bit more screen time and a bit more to do, but the writers are still letting these people down. Let's go to the doctor, Dr. Hugh Coburn. Now, Dr. Hugh, and I call him Dr. Hugh. I also call him Dr. Smiley because the dude smiles a lot and he has a great smile. So Dr. Hugh, in the first season, the only thing, I do mean the only thing we know about him is that he's a doctor and he's Stamets' boyfriend or husband. I'm not really sure if they're married or not, but let's just say they're married. It's his husband. That's all we know about him. And so then he gets killed, murdered, and he's gone, which fridges like his character. And so you think that would give Stamets motivation to keep doing what he's doing, like a superhero. Nope. And so then it's kind of like, of course, that pissed off so many viewers because it's just like, dude, you literally just killed off the LGBT character, what they do in so many shows, and the LGBT hates it when they do stuff like that. And so, like, of course, then they got cold feet and they brought him back for the second season. But let's get back to that. The first season, what do we know about him? Nothing. Nothing. Now, he does have that curse of being a doctor, which means he is limited to that of sick bay. But that's the thing, a problem all doctors have. But they also make sure that when they are limited to sick bay, they give those characters a personality that people end up loving or hating. I've loved every Star Trek doctor there ever was, except for one, DS9. I did not like Bashir. Bashir was boring. He got on my nerves. He was irritating until they augmented his brain, and we found out like he's like basically a supercomputer. He became interesting after that, but he was dull and boring and annoying before that. But what kind of personality does Hugh have? Nothing. He just smiles a lot. He's always chipper. And then they killed him. He is basically just there to play like the boyfriend role or husband role. Then after he dies, in the second season, at some point, he comes back alive. I think he's now like a clone version of himself due to the Spore network drive of Spore drive and stuff. And so it recreated him for some bizarre reason. Didn't know it could do that. And not only did we not know that, the only reason why is because they pissed off people. So now his death has no meaning. But when he came back, they actually gave him something to do. They made him vengeful. Yes, he was pissed off. at the man who killed him, Ash Tyler, who everybody welcomed with like open arms and everything. Dude, don't even know what Ash Tyler is. I don't know if he's human. I don't know if he's Klingon, but he murdered this dude, and he was a mole, and he didn't know he was a mole. And so this causes Hugh to get so pissy that they get into a fist fight in the cafeteria area, the mess hall. Then all of a sudden Hugh is just like, and then he also has it out with Stannis. He's pissed at Stannis. Then all of a sudden they're all like, we don't like him grumpy. Let's just make him nice again and make him a doctor again. And boom, that's it. He's a doctor again. He's nice again. He's back to loving Stamets again. He forgives Ash. And after that, they do nothing with his character in the second season. Now we get into the third. In the third, he still does nothing. He goes on like an away mission with Michael. Well, I think. And every time he goes on an away mission, he's always like, Michael, only you can do this. And Michael, only you're skilled to do this. And Michael, only you can save the day. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm paraphrasing, but I am not joking. And then after that, what does he do? Nothing. And then so at some point, he adopts Adira as their surrogate daughter. And that's about it. Now we get into the fourth season. The writers realize they have nothing for this character. He does absolutely nothing. He is a doctor. And when he's a doctor, we don't even really see him save people's lives. There's so much tragic stuff that happens on the ship. Tons of people get hurt, and we never see him in sick bay doing all that cool medical stuff that we've seen before. He doesn't even do doctor stuff. Then, in the fourth season, he is on the bridge instead of sick bay, and then he goes to save people. Who does he save? Adira, because that's his adoptive daughter. And then he saved Tilly and stuff first. Then, when Tilly and Adira come back from the away mission, everybody's hurt. Everybody's like messed up. And what does he do? How's Adira? How's Adira? No, that's not what Starfleet officers do. You don't ask how is your loved one. You go and you save people. That's what he is. He's a doctor. So what does he do? He saves Adira first. He saves Tilly second. And he realized there's a man underneath like some rubble. He is now dead. Maybe he would have been alive if you would have got to him first. And then so now this is what's really interesting. Now he is the ship's counselor. How? He is a doctor. He is not trained to be a counselor. But they wrote him to be a counselor because they don't know what to do with the character. They haven't even ran out of material because they don't write nothing for him. They just don't care to write nothing for him. And so now they're like, okay, now we need to make you prominent on the show, so let's make you the counselor. He is not Counselor Troy. He is not even Guinan. Guinan gave counsel advice because she listens to people. That's what her species does. The doctor from Voyager, they made him into a counselor for some bizarre reason. But at least he's a program that has medical experience, so one could say that's okay. But this dude has no experience in counseling. Doctors are not counselors. They are not one and the same. And yet he's counseling people. And I'm just like, what in the world is going on here? Why is he a counselor? Give him actually something to do. But they can't. They don't know what to do because these writers are stupid. Stannis. Now, Stannis is different from this list. He actually has stuff to do. In the first season, he was this rude, blunt person who created the whole jump drive, spore drive thing. The marsupial network thingy or whatnot. He created that. He's a science officer. He had a lot to do, but people did not like him because he was rude to people and stuff. Then, all of a sudden, Coburn dies, and then that's his husband. And so he becomes a nicer person after that. We see his struggles going through the marsupial network as he's trying to guide Discovery back from the mirror universe. This dude has a lot to do in the first season. In the second season, I don't remember what he does other than get into a fight with Coburn after he finds out he's alive. Um, that's all I really remember from him. This was starting to show that the writers really don't have much for him. Now he still does the spore drive jump thing. We see it takes a toll on his body, but he's a trooper. He's gonna keep on doing it because the ship needs him. The universe needs him. That's awesome. Then we get into the third season. He hangs out with Adira. He bonds with her, adopts her. Other than that, he doesn't do nothing in the third season. Like I kid you not, I don't recall him doing much of nothing in the third season. Then he has that big dramatic thing in the end when Burnham realizes they have to get him off the ship because he's the only one who navigates the spore drive. So she puts him in the airlock thing and jets him off. And he tells her straight up, we sacrificed everything for you to come to the 32nd century, to come to the future. We left our friends, our family, our life, and you just like pushing us all away just so you can just save the day all by herself. Now we get into the fourth season. In the fourth season, he hasn't done much of nothing other than hang out with Book and trying to determine what this anomaly thing is. And he's not even the one really figuring out what it is because Adira and Tilly are the ones figuring out what it is. And so he's just there, just taking up screen time, interacting with people and stuff like that. Also in the fourth season, the actor has started acting differently. He's wackier, he's sporadic now, he's nervous now. And it's just like, dude, where did that come from? He wasn't like that before. But for the most part, they give him stuff to do. It's just in the fourth season, in the third season, they kind of let him down. He doesn't do much of anything now. They still jump around the spore thing, but it's mostly Book who does that. And if it is Stannis, I think it no longer kills him because they just wrote that out of existence and stuff. Saroo. Saroo's an interesting character. A lot of people like him. I like him. He was cool in the first season, but they made it seem like his people are dead. And that made him into an even more interesting character until in the second season, it finds out they are very much alive. That made no sense. But no matter what, they kept giving him stuff to do. However, in the second season, when he has this ganglia thing on the back of his head, and if they ever cut off, that means you die. And so it's like an alert system. And when it's gone, you pretty much die. They cut it off. He doesn't die. But it made this big dramatic thing anyway. Then after that, we see he has a personality shift. He is more angrier. That lasts all of one episode. Now he's back to being a nice guy again. Then in the second season, it made it seem like he liked Burnham romantically. But they don't. They're just really good friends because they served aboard 2 ships. Now, towards the end of the second, well, actually, to tell you the truth, one interesting thing they do with him is towards the end of every season, the first 2 seasons actually, they made him into the acting captain. In the third season, they made him the official captain. And when they made him captain, they started making him a little silly, coming up with catchphrases and stuff like that. And it's just like, why are you ruining this character? But they still keep him cool. But then they got rid of him at the end of the season, in the third season, because he went to go be with his people and stuff, and that one dude that he found. Now what's odd is that when they made Saroo captain, they made him make some dumb decisions. One dumb decision is making Tilly his acting commanding officer. Why? Tilly was an ensign before. Just like a couple of months ago, she was a cadet in Starfleet. Why in the world would she be his acting commander and stuff? Then in the fourth season, he doesn't want to be captain no more, even though he still had the rank. He now wants to be Burnham's commander. Stupid. And so like, now he's still making dumb decisions. He doesn't do anything in the fourth season other than just be charming and be nice. And he suggests to Burnham that you should send Tilly on this away mission instead of sending your security team, only because she wants more training. Stupid. So they're running out of stuff for him to do. Let's see. Michael Burnham is Michael Burnham. She saves the day. Blah, 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 blah. Michael Burnham. That's it. She's the only person who ever gets to do anything. She's the only person who ever gets to save the day. They wrote her. Now, one thing they did fail with her is that they wrote her to be the most unlikable person in the first season. She committed mutiny. She disobeyed orders. She got tons of people murdered because of a war she started. And then they decided, okay, well, we're going to have her be the one to fix this war. But it's not really her, it's Giorgio, and it's that Klingon lady who threatened to blow up the Klingon planet. But they still gave the credit to her. She gets promoted after this. She's back to being a commander. And so what do they do after that? They make the most unlikable person. They try to force likability on her by making her save the day. Nobody wants her to save the day. She saves the day all the time, even with other alien species she's never met. And so it's like, she is annoying. And I don't want to talk about her no more. And now we get to Tilly, Lieutenant Tilly, who I saved the best for last. Because this is actually how this video was originally going to start. Because she has now left Starfleet. I was very shocked and amazed by this. Now, I've said this before. I don't like Tilly, the character, but I love Mary Wiseman to death. She is funny. She is actually a good actress. She is very comedic. She's good at drama. Watch Room 143, Josie and Me. That was a powerful episode. It's a little trigger warning because it deals with sexual assault. But she plays it very well. I was very shocked and surprised because it wasn't a comedic role whatsoever. But let's do this. The writers failed both Tilly and Mary from day one by making her the butt of the show. I've been trying to figure out for the longest time, who are they trying to make Tilly out to be? At first, I thought she was Michael Burnham 2.0 because things are just given to her and she doesn't earn that stuff. But then I'm like, wait, hold up. I now know who she is. Tilly is an amalgamation of both Neelix and JJ's James T. Kirk. Not the TOS James T. Kirk, but the JJ movies. This is why. Tilly is written to be comedic relief of the show. I don't like this. I don't like comedy in Star Trek unless it is the Spock Data 7-9 type character. You have to have a very serious person who doesn't know nothing about emotions, and then they do things that are humorous, but they don't try to be humorous. That is funny. That is low-key humor. But with Tilly, they go overboard. They literally write her to be the butt of the show. Just like Neelix was in Voyager. Neelix was a very comedic, very annoying character. And that is who they made Tilly out to be. She is goofy. She is silly. She cries a lot, more than Michael Burnham. She is not a very confident person. And one asks, why is she even in Starfleet if she's not that confident? But she wants to rise up in the ranks. Now, when it comes to her, and because she is funny and she's always throwing out curse words and stuff, the writers failed her by making her into the laughable big person of a sitcom. You know how sitcoms used to be back in the day when they had like a person who is heavier? First, let me just state this. I don't have a problem with her being big. I know a lot of people do. I've read the comments. I have seen the videos. The videos, it comes from people who are toxic and it comes from people who are not toxic. That's what's very shocking. People always bring up her weight for some bizarre reason. Even so much in the third season as to suggest that she's pregnant, and she is not. She's just gaining weight. But this is unusual to see in Star Trek, especially for humans, because they're not supposed to be heavy set, because they're all about good health and medical and stuff like that. But I do not have a problem with big people. I love big people. I love big women. Big women are sexy. I think Mary is sexy. I love red-haired women. I love long, curly-haired women. So Mary is a giant plus for me. No puns intended. But she's on my high checklist of like actresses I like and crush on and stuff. So I don't have a problem with her weight. However, they write her to be the funny big person. Because you know how it is. It's like in a sitcom, like say King of Queens. Doug Heffernan was a large guy. They wrote him to be a silly large guy who always talks about food and wants to eat. He is like the butt of the show, and that's how they wrote Tilly. Tilly don't talk about food, but they make her into like the class clown and stuff, so you can laugh not with her, but at her. Originally, you were supposed to laugh with her, but then at some point they just wrote it to where you laugh at her. That is messed up. This ruined the character, and it's caused people to dislike the character. That's why I don't like the character. She is just silly. I don't understand why she's in Starfleet. And this also caused people to be mean to the actress and everything. And so I've always seen videos about people talking about her weight. Now, the only time I ever brought up her weight is very similar. It's ironic. The fandom menace, the toxic fan base of people. I used to watch their videos in the past. One person only brought up her weight, but he didn't even make fun of her. It's pretty much just fans of the show who makes fun of her. He brought up the same thing I brought up, and that is that marathon she ran in the second season to try to be like she's doing like the commander's test thing. I don't understand how in the world someone of her size is able to win a running marathon when the people are clearly slimmer than her, and one dude is actually muscular. Like, she beat him. That don't make no sense. And not only did she beat them, but she stopped for several minutes to talk to this alien pretending to be the ghost of her dead friend. And then after she got through talking to this ghost person for several minutes, then she started running again, and she's clearly in last place, but she wins. The writers literally gave her a win when she clearly could not win this thing. And they did that just so everybody can praise and like her, but it backfired. People still bring this up to the day. When they bring up Tilly, they always bring up that marathon thing she ran in the second season. This is how she is like JJ's Kirk. JJ Kirk has everything handed to him. He was just a bratty kid with daddy issues, and then Pike's all like, oh, we can use that anger to something beneficial. And so he put him in Starfleet Academy. Then he cheated, and then he graduated, but he got kicked out. Then he got made the captain of a starship when he clearly does not have the experience. And that is the role Tilly has. They give Tilly every opportunity to rise up in the ranks when she has not earned it. Very similar to Neelix. Neelix was just like a man who did odd jobs. He was basically like a jack of all trades type person. And that's what he became on the show, a jack of all trades. All of a sudden, he started off as just a cook. But then now all of a sudden he can do security. He can now do medical triage stuff. He is an ambassador. He can do engineering stuff. The dude does everything, and he's not qualified to do everything. But they tried to do that to be likable, and it backfired. Just like it's backfiring on Tilly. And so the writers, they're just like, oh, who cares? Whatever, just make her the silly person. It's kind of like Jonah Hill and Rebel Wilson. Like, they were both the big funny person. And then he slimmed down and he stopped taking funny roles and he stopped being funny. Then he gained the weight again. And now he's tired of people talking about his weight. That's all people bring up. Rebel Wilson was the funny big girl. And she got tired of being big. She wanted to slim down, but her manager told her no, because your career would pretty much end because nobody wants to see you be slim and funny, and because you're funny and big. And that is how it is with Mary Wiseman. They just kept her being the big funny girl. And yes, as every season kept going, she started gaining more weight. Why? Don't know, but that's her business. And people have been mean. And it was so much that one day I was on Twitter, because there's a YouTube channel I watch and I like. It's called Trek Central with Captain Rick. And on Twitter, he brought up that people are being very, very, very rude with Mary Wiseman and her weight and her uniform. Because in the first 3 seasons, this is the first time we've ever seen a Starfleet uniform where it's tight. And I mean, it's tight. We haven't seen that since season 1 and 2 of Next Generation. And so, because she is bigger, it really hugs on her body. And they put her in positions on the show in certain camera angles that make her look bigger than what she is. I have literally seen even people on YouTube when they make thumbnails. So this one YouTuber, he's actually a nice dude. Every once in a while, he gets toxic with his thumbnails. But with this season, when he brings up a certain topic, he gets kind of toxic. You can hear it in his voice. And people have called him out on that. Because he's this really nice dude on YouTube. And when he made this one thumbnail of like Mary Wiseman being Tilly, he made her look bigger than what she is. I think he's done that twice. And it's like he's clearly making fun of her weight. And this is messed up. You gotta remember, she is a human being. She's gonna have emotional problems because of this. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea why they wrote her off the show. I have no idea why. I don't even know if she left the show. But it could be because of the toxic fan base and stuff, always making fun of her. And so, like, the writers have failed both the actress and the character because they don't write her serious enough. And she's a very smart person, that's the thing. But they write her to be the butt of humor where people just laugh at her. Then, what makes matters worse is that there are times where she is serious and she is smart, but they rarely show that. And then, she constantly has things handed to her that shouldn't be. There was no way she should have won that marathon. Then, in season 3, Saroo makes her his acting commander. Why? In season 1, she was a cadet. Now, first of all, she was a cadet in Starfleet Academy, and she was on an experimental ship and a highly classified mission. A cadet should never been on something like that, but yet they wanted a cadet on the show. Then they made her an ensign at the end of the episode. So then in season 2, she is a ensign, and in season 3, now she is an acting commander. She is basically, and in these shows, they don't take part years after each other. They take part minutes and months within each other. So she's basically a cadet still, but yet she's now the commanding officer. And what happens after that? Personality shift. She is more confident now. She is like more serious now. She's acting like a commander. This is weird. That's not her personality. And then we see when she is confronted with the villain, she crumbles. She screws up and she's back to being her crybaby self. She even says she goes to the nacelles to go and cry because Tilly cries a lot. She is not confident. She needs Michael Burnham to hold her hand and do everything. She even said in the second season when that ghost alien thing kept messing with her, she cried and said, "I want Michael." What kind of Starfleet officer says something like that? You know what I'm saying? And then to make matters even worse, to make her more like Kirk and Neelix, at the end of the 3rd season, they were going to keep her a commander with a red stripe on her uniform. But they had to digitally correct that and make it blue. Because they realized they can't do that because she's not capable enough. Then in the 4th season, she's back to sassing commanding officers who are higher ranking than her because she's a lieutenant. Then she goes on that away mission with these cadets and totally screws up. And to make matters worse, to make her more like Kirk, they recreated that snow scene from the first movie back in 2009, letting people know, yes, they are making her to be out like Kirk. They literally want her to be the best Starfleet officer she can be, but she's not equipped to be. When she went on an away mission with Saroo in the 3rd season in 32nd Century, she doesn't know combat training. She basically had to hide behind a table as all this phaser fire is going on. Now in the 4th season, instead of taking the security team, Burnham, now captain, takes her. She lets them know she don't even know how to hold a sword. She drops it. Then all of a sudden, she's like a warrior, can kick butt with a sword. And it's like, where did this come from? You don't go from being a bumbling idiot one second and then an experienced samurai in the next. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they write her. And nobody's gonna like that character when you just hand her stuff. And then the biggest revelation came of all. They wrote her off the show. And she told Michael that the worst day of her life when she got her lieutenant pipes. Really? Because you was happy when you was the commanding officer of that ship. But now all of a sudden, and she was happy wanting to like she wanted to be the best Starfleet officer she can be, she said in the other season. But now they wrote it to where she reveals that the only reason why she joined Starfleet is to piss her mom off and everything. And she can't even do that now because her mom is 900 years dead in the past. And so she doesn't see a future for herself no more. Now she's going to go and teach. Is she capable to teach? I really don't know. But she's going to go teach. So she has left Discovery. She has left Starfleet. What the world did the writers do to this character? They made her to try to be the best Starfleet officer she can be, only for her to crumble once again and be all like, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm out. And I don't know why they wrote her out. I don't know if the actress asked to leave. I don't know if like the actress is having her feelings hurt online. I don't know. Nobody knows. They won't explain nothing because this is still too early. That literally just happened last week. And so, like, the writers are like, oh, yes, we'll be seeing her in the future. Will we? We don't know. Saroo left and he came back. Nan left and she left. And this is kind of like the Ruby Rose situation where the creators are like, oh, yes, we'll see her down the line. Nope, Ruby Rose left. And so it's like the biggest character they failed on this show, the writers, was Tilly. And the biggest actress or a star that they failed is Mary Wiseman. Mary Wiseman did not deserve the hate that she gets online, but they write her to get hated on. And it's like, when it comes to her weight in her uniform, here's the thing. There has been big Star Trek stars before in the past who was in Starfleet, but you don't know it unless you look really well. Mostly, the women of Star Trek past have said they make you go on a diet and they make you wear Spanx before you can put on your space uniform. They make the men wear Spanx too. However, this rule doesn't apply to the whole diet thing when it comes to the men, because as you can see, the men start to gain weight as the series progress. And when the movies come out, they really gain weight. How do they hide this, you wonder? Easy. They wore black uniforms. These black uniforms made them look slimmer. In Discovery, they don't have that. In Discovery, they went through the Enterprise route and went with blue uniforms. And so then in season 4, they changed the uniforms up to where they look more like jackets. But even with her, they turn her in certain positions and the camera is always focused on her. And have you ever noticed that she's always falling down, and when she does, they always show like her butt and thigh area and stuff? And because they are literally trying to have that hee hee ha ha comedic moment with lots of bigger people in sitcoms and stuff. We've seen this before in the past with so many sitcom stuff. Even to the point now, it's not like that no more. If you watch American Housewife, yeah, the actress is big, but they don't make her into the butt of the show. She's literally the lead and stuff like that. And so it's like they have failed this character and star so much because they did it out of their own amusement. But they didn't realize that this is a real life human being who is literally being mocked online. And it's not fair because she's a good actress. She's very good looking. And it's like she's big. So what? Because like some of the people who make fun of her weight, like I've watched their videos, they're big themselves. And even some of the nicest people have literally said that the uniform does not complement her body. And I'm like, dude, have you not seen yourself in the mirror? Because you're literally like reviewing this episode in the Starfleet uniform and you're pretty heavy set yourself. So you got no room to speak, you know? And it's like they don't care about her mental health. They don't care about her health issues and stuff. They just want to make fun of her for everybody's amusement on the show. Now, of course, the writers be like, oh, we don't do that on purpose. Yes, you do. Sometimes it's intentional and sometimes it's unintentional, but you do it because you want that hee hee ha ha moment and stuff. And it's totally messed up. So if I had to rank who had like who the writers have let down the most, it would be Tilly and Mary Wiseman because they don't deserve that. Because like take me, I like Mary Wiseman, but I hate Tilly. Tilly is the worst Starfleet officer in history. Even Barclay was more likable than her. And the reason why she's not likable is even though she's smart and she has her smart moments, you rarely get to see them because all they do is make you laugh at her and stuff. And it's totally messed up because the writers don't care. Alex Kurtzman does not care. He allows all this to happen. He needs to be ashamed of himself for that and ruining Star Trek. But you know what I'm saying? It's like these characters on Star Trek Discovery deserve better, but they do not get better. They just get worse as time progresses. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.